The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Clackamas, Oregon, on your new support vehicle, job number 29979. Please utilize this job number when referencing this vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new piece of equipment. Starting on the driver's side and also on the passenger side door, you'll find these warning labels located on the door panel. Moving inside, you'll also find additional warning labels just inside the door at the base of the seat, and also a yellow placard which is indicated for your job chassis. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next set of images. Underneath the base of the seat, this is that additional warning label, and to the very back section, an additional warning label here. Let's talk a little bit about on the driver's side at the base here of the seat, you're going to find your master battery on-off switch. Moving just onto the seat underneath the cushion, you'll find an air ride. This is for increasing or decreasing air pressure for your seat comfort. And moving over to the right-hand side, this lever will move your seat forward and backwards. This is a keyed apparatus. It is a start position here on the left side. You'll see the key. Moving to the opposite side on the center console, you'll find an audible warning alarm, and this alarm is adjustable. Just at the right knee area here of the operator, you'll find this hour meter for your vehicle hours. And starting on this yellow placard here, this is from Pierce. This indicates the date of manufacture, the job number associated with this vehicle, moving down to the gross vehicle weight rating. Moving further down, you'll also find the vehicle VIN number. And as you move further down in the next image, you'll find all of the fluid capacities and types of fluid for this piece of equipment. Let's move now over to the center console. On the right and left-hand side, you'll find a barrel-style 12-volt DC power. These are two of these located on the front of your center console. Moving to the driver's side door, you'll find your mirror control. Moving just to the center column, you'll find your regular horn that is located in the center of your steering column. On the left-hand side is going to be your headlights for flash, and also your windshield wipers. Starting at the very top on your left, you're going to find your speed control for cruise control. You're going to find your RSM AAC or ACC, and just beneath that, you'll find your headlights, running lights, and down from that location, you'll find the increase and decrease on your speed. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full dash. As we move to the right-hand side of the dash area, starting in the lower left corner of your dash, you'll find your transmission temperature. Moving up from that location, you'll find your water temperature. Moving up from the very top in the upper left-hand corner, this will be your oil pressure. As you move to the right, you'll find your tachometer located on the left-hand side of your center portion of the gauge. Moving just up from that location, you'll find this cluster, which is your speedometer. Moving up to the very top, you'll find an information center, which provides the odometer, voltage, outside temperature. In addition, there are another cluster of gauges around the top section of that for information. Up in the right corner, a two-system gauge for your fuel and also your DEF, and then your front and rear air brakes on the next gauges down below that. On the far right-hand side, you'll find this push button. This will be the indicator to scroll through the menu on the green LED in the center of your dash. Let's move to the right-hand side here. This is going to be your NRM spin ATC. Just to the right of that location, you'll find your filter minder for your air filter. Moving down from that, this is your Allison transmission pad. And now we'll take a look at some of the clusters of switches in the center console. Starting at the very top, there's a blank space, and just beneath that, this is an AM/FM Bluetooth radio. Underneath that section in the red, you'll find your high idle switch, and just to the right of that, you'll find an indicator light indicating that it's okay to engage the high idle. Moving to the right of that location, this is going to be your main parking brake. The toggle switch on your far right-hand side here is going to be your engine brake.
high and low. And moving to the right of that location, this is going to be your regen switch. You have 3 future switches to the right-hand side for additional. All the way to the very far right, this is your load master on-off switch. And moving to the very far right, this is the Pierce seatbelt information, red indicating that someone is occupying the seat but not belted. Down at the very bottom here, this is going to be your generator PTO. This is an indicator light for your generator PTO. Moving to the right, this is going to be an important label regarding your height, length, and gross vehicle weight ratings. And all the way to the very far right, the next set of clusters, this is your heated mirrors. And we'll move to the next image here. There are 2 future locations for switches. Your awning is raised. And then on the very far right side is going to be your light tower is in the raised position. Moving to the right in a red switch indicator is your door open. And then on the very far right here, an indicator for your low voltage of your engine. Just off the main cluster of switches, you'll find this indicator. This is going to be an audible alarm. Let's go ahead and take a look at just underneath all the bank of switches we just saw. This is your climate control. Just above at the very top, this is going to be for your backup camera. Now we're going to go ahead and move all the way up to the very top over the operator's head. There are a bank of switches here, in addition with some switches in the center. Let's talk a little bit about first the bank of switches on the left. Starting in the left, this is your emergency master for your emergency lights. You have a roof light, front warning lights, side warning lights, rear warning lights, and also your Opticom switch. From here, we'll move just to the right in the center column between the operator and the passenger. You're going to find 2 pull cords here. Those are for your air horns. And let's talk a little bit about some of the components within inside those switches. All of these rocker switches here are going to be for scene. You're going to have front scene, driver scene, passenger side scene, and then we move to the right, the Zyco scene, which is going to be the tubed style light that points backwards, and your perimeter lights. Moving to the far right-hand side, this is the control for your PA system and electronic siren. And very important, this red light is an indicator light that you have a compartment ajar and not to move the apparatus until verified. Once again, front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, Zyco scene, and also your perimeter lights. Once again, this is your PA system and electronic siren. On the very far side, this is going to be over the passenger seat. This is an additional storage location or future location for another bank of switches if you choose to do so. Let's go ahead and look at the visor as you pull this down on the operator's seat. This is information from Freightliner and a component information list about the various components within your Freightliner apparatus. Down at the very right-hand side, I mentioned it earlier, this is your generator hours. In the center, you have MapBook storage. In the passenger side, at about the left knee location on the dash, this is going to be your vehicle data recorder. Another generalized view of the upper portion of your center console. General view of the outside of your apparatus. We'll now go through some of those components on the outside. First, let's start at the very back section of your apparatus. At the very top, we're going to see that you have scene lights on both the left and right-hand side of the vehicle, in addition with emergency warning lights in the very front. We'll now go ahead and move to the very front portion. This is the passenger side. On your roll-up door in this compartment, there are 2 pull-out shelves. The very top shelf is a pull-out that will slant in a downward position for accessing tools. These are adjustable. You'll see here the black strap. This is for pulling down the roll-up door. And as I move also inside the cab, you can see that there are 2 black indicators here that move inside to each other to allow this shelf to move outward and pull downward. And the very bottom shelf, you'll see this is a cord cable here that pulls the mechanism. Currently the mechanism in its closed position. Once the cable is depressed or pulled, this will allow that mechanism to move into the open position, allowing the door to move outward. Let's go ahead and take a look at the compartments that are further back. The next compartment is a smaller compartment. It has 3 shelves in this. The very top shelf is the same concept as your front compartment. It pulls out and tilts downward. The 2 lower compartments merely pull to the outside and lengthen their full length out. I have a view here of the shelf in its tilted downward position. Let's talk just beneath this compartment. This is the location for your exhaust. There is a warning label in this area about exhaust being hot and could potentially create things that could be dangerous and flammable. Just be aware of that situation. This does have a shield that protects the exhaust from the body of the cab. But let's look at a generalized view of the side from the driver's side at the rear of the apparatus. Generalized view from the front of the apparatus. And now let's break down some of the components on the front grille. As you can see on your front grille, you have a variety of different emergency lights that are forward facing. There are 2 tow hooks located at the very bottom, and at the very top, your emergency light bar and a forward facing fixed floodlight. Moving just off to the left and right, there are dual right and left air horns. Here's a close-up of the grille. You can see the emergency lights on the right side and left, and also 4 emergency lights in the very center. Down to the very bottom on the driver's side, this is your electronic siren. Now moving over to the inside of this opening here, there are open-ended tow hooks on the inside. You have Alcoa rims with your Michelin tires. Here is an image of the top and lower section of your mirror. The top section is flat and the lower section is convex. On the passenger side, this is an additional mirror for seeing directly down onto the passenger side from the driver's seat. Let's go ahead and start with some of the components here just under the driver's door. Under the driver's door, you have an auto-release air chuck. Moving to the right-hand side, this is in the red. This is going to be your shore power. It is an auto-eject also. And just underneath that, there is a running light or step light on both the step and just underneath the front door. Here is a close-up of that 20 amp shore inlet. To the right-hand side in the silver, clearly identified, this is your ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. And to the right in the blue cap, this is your DEF. On the body of the apparatus, you're going to find that you have a shoreline outlet. This is a 15 amp shoreline output. Generalized view of the side of the apparatus. Pretty much the general makeup on the other side absent the door. But let's take a look at the very top. You have an emergency light in the front, and to the rear of that, a side-facing floodlight. Same configuration in the rear of the apparatus. Let's talk about this compartment just at the front section of the cab. This is going to be information here in the bottom for how to dump the toilet or waste product and how to clean the wastewater and also how to load fresh water. The 2 white caps are going to be for water coming in, and the black cap on the left-hand side, this is going to be your black water. There are clear instructions on the bottom. If you have any questions, please read the instructions or seek help from your Pierce salesman. Just back from that location, you'll find a pull-out step to gain access inside to the body. Underneath that, or just to the side of that, you're going to find a location for a folding wheel chock. There is also one in the rear wheel and one just to the front of that. As the step is in the outward position to gain access inside to the body of the apparatus, you'll find there are clear handles and door locks to make access inside. Once inside, you'll find a stainless steel sink. Just beneath that, a stainless steel trash can. And on the right-hand side here, as you look inside, this is going to be the on-off system for your tank system, and you can scroll through the menu using the buttons on your left. This is an overhead LED light and also a fan exhaust port. The operation of your toilet, the instructions are right there on the wall. Just above that location, there is also a storage location and a safety lock while in motion. Let's now take a look at some of the compartments just to the rear of that entry door. You'll find almost the same configuration as the opposite side, 2 pull-out shelves and a downward pull-out shelf at the very top. Once again, those are all adjustable. You can see here, this is a cable style where you, same as the other side, where you pull the pin to release the mechanism, allow this to move outward. In the upper section of this compartment, this is going to be your 12-volt battery charger. This is also shoreline generated out power. Let's go ahead and take a look at the very bottom section here. This is near the rear wheel, just above the marker light. This is your bottle storage location for 2 SCBA bottles. Moving to the center compartment, this is going to be your main function here for 6 air bottles. This is part of your compressed air system. On the right-hand side, you have an additional outward power, an emergency light, and the Zyco light. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last compartment on the very back on the driver's side. When this compartment is open, you'll find a significant amount of bottle storage, and at the very top, an electrical reel 200 feet in length, 20 amp, and this is at the very bottom. This is your cord reel wind. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear of the apparatus. At the very top of this, you can see that there is a warning light in addition with a floodlight rear facing. On the very lower section, right and left, you'll find your tail light cluster for stop, turn, reverse, and also an indicated for reverse light. At the very top, you'll find a backup camera. Same thing on the opposite side, but you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, this is the manual return for your awning. Down on the right-hand side, you'll see a warning label regarding the riding of individuals on the rear of an apparatus. At the very top, this is your awning that will extend out. It is electronic, and I'll show you where those controls are next. When this compartment is open, this is your refilling location for 4 bottles. And you can see at the very top, left-hand side, this is going to be your generator breaker panel. On the right-hand side, shore power breaker panel. And moving all the way to the left-hand side, this is going to be your awning control. That is a remote control at the very top. To the other side, this is going to be your elevated light. This is the control for that device. As we move to the right-hand side, this is for your generator if your PTO is engaged. And this next switch down is to turn on and off the generator. Moving to the right, this is your FRC generator indicator information regarding volts and frequencies. And moving to the right-hand side, this is going to be a temperature gauge. Up to the very right-hand corner up here, the very small black indicator here, this is going to be an audible speaker. Just beneath that, you'll find an amber check engine light. Beneath the amber check engine light, the next one down is going to be a red stop engine light. And in the very bottom, this will be an amber check transmission light. There is also a cord reel or hose reel at the very top up here for extending the ability to fill. Let's go ahead and move to the opposite side of the apparatus. We're now on the passenger side, and behind this compartment roll-up door, you'll find a variety of adjustable shelves, in addition with a refrigerator and freezer, and at the very top, additional storage. Moving just in front of that, this is the location for a pressure gauge and your air filters. This is on a board that can be pulled out. There is a switch or lever here to actuate the movement of that board outward. It is a manual pull. In the upper left-hand corner of this compartment, this is your awning control. This is where the remote control communicates to one another. On the outside, same as the opposite side, this is a 20 amp outlet, emergency light just above that, and this is your rear-facing Zyco light. Let's go ahead and look just over the rear tire. This is the next compartment over. This was a through compartment, which is housing your air compressor for your compressed air for your SCBA bottles. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes sales representative. Congratulations, Clackamas, Oregon, on your new piece of equipment, job number 29979. Congratulations and good luck.